Welcome back to Your Future Home, brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently.
Now, you might be seeing a lot of conflicting headlines about the housing market. We might be in a buyer's market, or we're headed towards another bubble. But what's the real story? Well, here to break down what to expect in 2019 is Louisa Gillen and Chris Palminteri. They're the co-founders of the Simple Real Estate Co. Great to have both of you guys here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Chris, let's start with you. Home inventory is actually on the rise. So what does that mean for a lot of people who are watching who might be first-time home buyers who are entering in the market?
Well, it means there are a lot of options out there. Buyers have a tremendous opportunity to negotiate a good deal.
So it's a good time to get in there.
It's a good time to get in. There are a lot of options. You know, you don't have this kind of bidding war aspect that just gives buyer fatigue. So it's a great time to just jump in. If you see something you love, go for it. And hopefully there won't be as much competition.
So Lisa, given that the housing market often performs in tandem with the overall economy, given the state of the economy right now, why are some people saying the housing market is slowing down?
I think it's really how you're going to define slowdown. It's like water, you know, cup of water half full or half empty.
Right.
The pace of growth is slowing down, but it's not like
Still
prices
growing.
are collapsing
Right.
and, you know, you're going to see this bubble pop. I mean, I do not think we're in a bubble. I think it's a stabilization period. Prices have been climbing year over year, and it hit its peak. So we're having a price correction. There's nothing wrong with that. We're still healthy. Don't take the media for all it's worth.
Great, that's good to know. And Chris, you know, interest rates, they're rising, but they're still pretty low right now. Do you think that that increase is going to play into any sort of future affordability problems for a lot of those first-time home buyers that are out there?
Well, it's definitely good to note that, as you just mentioned, interest rates are still historically low, very favorable, and not to believe the news. I just had a conversation with a mortgage broker this morning, and interest-only rates are still in the threes. 30-year fixed are 4.5% to 5%, depending upon your credit. So that's still a point higher from where we were not too long ago.
Right.
But that number is going to translate to a few $100s a month, depending upon the size of the mortgage. So buyers are going to have to realize whether they're going to stretch to buy or they're going to have to maybe cut back on their lifestyle. But the good news is many lenders have programs for first-time buyers that are going to help them. So buyers should not be intimidated by rates creeping up.
Louisa, let's talk down payments. Down payments are the largest in more than a decade, a median of 13% of the purchase price. That's compared to 10% from the last year. Why is that?
I think it goes with what Chris was saying, that mortgage interest rates are ticking up. So buyers look at their monthly nut. So as those creep up, their monthly nut is going to creep up, so you put more down to compensate for that and keep your monthly nut kind of where you want it to be.
Well, let's talk about who are the buyers we should be keeping an eye on for this next period.
Definitely millennials.
Uh-huh.
For me, not being a millennial, I always think millennials are so young and, you know, why would they be in the market? But they're, you know, in their mid-30s now. That's when people tend to settle down, maybe have families. Their careers are, you know, further along, that they do have the down payments to put towards a home. So 66% of first-time buyers are millennials. So for us, we need to shift how we're trying to target them, and that's going to be, you know, now we're on social media. I was never on Instagram till, you know, 6 months ago, because I got to get these millennials.
So are you saying almost all of your stuff you're pushing now is through social media now, mostly?
A lot of it is, because we want to target those millennial buyers, and they're all tech.
I mean, speaking of tech and millennials, Chris, what sort of technologies are new and available now that are helping that demographic really buy their homes that maybe didn't exist a few years ago?
Well, right now, as Louisa mentioned, with the millennials being 66%, they're all on social media. Brokers right now are adapting to this change. They're advertising listings on Instagram. You know, technology has shifted. All the information is out there. Buyers have everything right at their fingertips. You know, sometimes there's almost like an overwhelming amount of information that needs to be deciphered. And that's one of the things where Louisa and I do believe, you know, you cannot underestimate the value of having a good broker to kind of cut through the noise. So this is certainly a time of the year where you need a good broker to kind of guide you through everything. And why wouldn't you use a broker right now? It doesn't cost anything on the buy side.
It's like the one service that's free, and you get an expert. Like, why wouldn't you?
So, I mean, in addition to using technology for advertising and to get information out there, are there technologies to help the buying process as well? You mentioned, you know, working with a broker, but are there technologies that supplement that in a sense?
I think it's more streamlined. Excuse me. I think, you know, just the way you're starting your search, you don't have to go out there and physically see 20 apartments. You can eliminate 15 of them, and then you go out and see 5 physically. So that time is eliminated. And then I think the mortgage process is streamlined through technology.
And just in terms of taxes, because we know because of the tax bill, things have changed because of the SALT deductions, you're not allowed to take a certain
Yes,
amount
it's a
as
hit.
much as you used to anymore. How do you feel like that's going to impact in the market? Because now we're essentially getting the first full year of that tax bill now being law.
Exactly. So I don't think we're going to see that impact until second quarter 2019 after everyone's done their taxes. Fortunately, since 66% of millennials are first-time buyers, they're not going to know the difference.
Right, and they're also probably not buying.
Them.
And they're also probably not buying houses that are so expensive that they'll be able to write off a certain chunk on their tax bill as
so
well.
you'll see it mostly in coastal areas where the prices are higher, the taxes are higher.
Right.
You do have that $10,000 limit of write-offs.
Right.
So.
Chris, go ahead.
I was going to say, the more those people are being affected in the higher the luxury market. So, you know, that's one of the things the millennials, they'll get there, but right now, you know, it's
a lot of them are there.
Yes, we're trying to get there.
Well, maybe we can hear from each of you what your predictions are for the 2019 housing market. Louisa, let's start with you.
I would say it's an opportunistic market. I think if you've been dipping your toe in, you've been thinking about buying a home, it's the time to do it. 2019, you won't have the competition. I don't know if prices will come in so much, but just not having the competition, and you never know where the seller is, maybe, you know, they have to sell, so make an offer.
And Chris?
I think 2 words for 2019 are going to be price correction. Prices are going to come in, not as much like Louisa just mentioned, but we're not going to see a collapse. We're not going to see that media bubble that, that housing bubble that the media loves to scare people with. And it is an amazing opportunity to buy, and we wish all those buyers best of luck to get that first-time home.
Yes, we do too. So great news, everybody! Fantastic. All right, Louisa Gillen and Chris Palminteri, they're the co-founders of the Simple Real Estate Co. Thanks so much for joining us.